So today I'm going to walk you through our sore muscles and barf bag lab analysis questions. On this first slide, I do have sample data here for our sore muscle labs or our muscle fatigue lab. If you need that, go ahead and pause the video, grab those numbers. Remember, for the sore muscle lab, what we did was we took a clothespin and we saw how many times we could click it open in 20 seconds. We took like less than 10 seconds break, right? So our hands started getting sore at the end. And as you can see in the data, things started kind of dropping off. Um, for your data, you will need to make a graph that looks similar to this. Obviously, this is a trend of air pollutants graph, not a muscle fatigue graph, but your graph will have 4 lines. Down on the bottom axis, you should have our trial numbers. On the side, you should have our number of clicks. Make sure you have a key so that I can tell which line is which, and a title on your graph. So each column here, so this would be its own line. This would be its own line. This would be its own line. And this here would be its own line. So that is how you're going to get 4 lines in your graph. That graph alone is worth 8 points, so I highly recommend that you do it. Then you need to go through and answer these 4 questions about the muscle fatigue. So what happened to your strength as you progress through each trial? Look at the trend of the graph. Is it going up? Is it going down? Things like that. Try to remember how your hands felt or think about how your hands would feel at the end or near the end of the trial. Look at the numbers. Were the results different for the dominant and non-dominant hand? Again, compare those lines on your graph. And why did your muscles become weak and fatigued? For this question, look back at our background information from the beginning. Think about what's building up in our muscles, what's causing that soreness that we feel, right? Then we have our barf bag lab that is connected to this. So the very first thing, I want you to look at my barf bag here. Write down observations. So in this table, you will see this exact table in your packet. Our cereal type is chocolate frosted flakes. Write down observations. What do you notice about this bag before we start the lab? So now we're going to watch it. This is a time-lapse video, so this happened over about an hour, but this is what happened. So you're going to see that the bag starts to puff up. And you are going to see little bubbles forming near the bottom there. Right? So take some time, write down observations after this lab. Right? So what do we notice as this lab is happening? Then what you need to do, you need to describe what's happening to the Ziploc bag. Is it getting bigger? Is it getting smaller? What's happening to it? Is it getting steamy inside? What do we remember? What do we see happening in the video? And this last question is worth 6 points, 1 for each word. So make sure you use all 6 words. Describe what is happening in the bag, right? So we remember in the bag we have yeast, we have sugar or glucose, and we have water. So what is the yeast doing with the sugar? Is it doing aerobic or anaerobic cellular respiration? What is anaerobic and aerobic? What are the reactants? What are the products that are being produced? What is the gas that's being produced there, right? Where does alcohol fermentation come into play? So use those words and describe what is happening in the bag, what we see scientifically through the process of fermentation and anaerobic respiration. If you have any questions, let me know. I want you guys to get these done. These were worth 25 points, and it was a lab grade. So if you have a 0 right now, it's really bringing your grade down. If you get them in, I will grade them when I get to them, and then hopefully that will bring your grade up.